Hello everyone, it is Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. So today I decided to do my favorite palettes of specific brands. So I picked 10 brands out of all of my eyeshadow palettes and I picked my favorite one and I'm going to share it with you guys today. I have a ton of brands throughout my collection, so I could actually do part 2, part 3, part 4 for this, but these are just the 10 that I chose that were automatically right on top of my head that I have been using for a while or have used in the past. And if I were to just pick one out of this specific brand, this is the one that I would choose. But before we get into the video, if you're new to my channel, welcome to the familia. I am an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash of Project Pan. If that is something that interests you to watch and enjoy, subscribe, join the familia. And now without further ado, let's get on with the palettes I picked. Alrighty, you guys, are you excited? Because I am seriously excited. This is one of my favorite things to do, is just pick and choose my favorite ones. I had a hard time. There's a bunch of them that I could choose, but honestly, these are it. So no particular order, you guys, either just the brands that I chose. The first one that is on top is Huda Beauty. She comes out with these 9-pan type of palette, the Obsessions palette, and out of all of the palettes that she has come out with, by far this one's my favorite, and I would say it is the Ruby Obsessions one. Specifically, the reason why I'm choosing this one is because I honestly don't have any other palette that is this red and vibrant in my collection. I personally enjoy her formula. I know it is very, very powdery. You go through it rather quickly for the price, but it's 9 shadows and it's under $30. You get a mirror, it's magnetic, it's enough for what you need, honestly, and it's gorgeous. This one is definitely my favorite. I love them all, honestly, but this one I gotta say is my favorite because it is super unique to my collection and to her line in general. As far as Colourpop's monochromatic eyeshadows, I honestly have to say it is the Honey palette. This one I love because I absolutely love yellows. And it's so funny that this year in the winter time when the sun refused to come out, I actually pulled a bunch of yellow highlighters and eyeshadows that I had, and I did a whole entire yellow eyeshadow look. And little did I know that there was going to be a bunch of yellow palette eyeshadows coming out this year. And this one is my favorite out of all their 9-pan shadows, specifically because you get so many different depths and undertones of yellow in here, and that hasn't been something that has happened in the past. Nowadays you're seeing these a dime a dozen, but before I didn't have any. All I had these yellow single shadows or maybe a yellow pop of color in a palette, but to have it all in one, be inexpensive and have great quality, I absolutely love this one. This is so beautiful. I could still wear it every day and not feel like I'm sticking out like a sore thumb, but it still gives me that colorful look that I want and crave without it being so much to be out in public and people staring at me. For the Anastacio, this should be no surprise because I have mentioned this in the past in a different favorites video. I gotta say it is the Subculture palette. Even though it has had so much controversy, I think the color story is super unique and super beautiful. I don't have any other color story in my collection like this specifically. It is beautiful. I love the colors of it. I do not dig my brushes in here. That's why a lot of my palettes don't look used, but it's because I don't dig. I'm not a type of person that digs. I kind of like brush over. It doesn't matter what kind of eyeshadow I come through. I just like roll my brushes in them, but this is so beautiful. I love these colors right here, this deeper brownish black plummy color. These right here, this one is super beautiful. You guys have seen this over and over. People are panning this one now. People are enjoying it. They're accepting it. They're loving it. And I do. This one's by far my favorite Anastasia one. And she has come out with a ton. And this one, I gotta still say it's my number one. The Lorac Pros. Not many people talk about the Lorac Pros. And you guys, you should know that my favorite one ever is the original. The original is still my favorite. I still enjoy it. This is the only eyeshadow palette in my whole collection that has pan in it. That's how much I love it. This is like my everyday. I don't feel like thinking about it, but I still want some sort of color, but I don't want to be like this colorful. This is the palette I would go with. This is my acceptable palette. This is the world accepts me and my color and my eyeballs kind of palette. I love it. I love the quality. It's still my favorite. It was a gift from my sister, so I cherish it a lot. I got use out of it. I will still use it until I realize that it is no longer good. I don't care how old it is. I think it's beautiful. And I know it doesn't get as much love anymore, but it still has gotten the most love out of all my palettes in my collection. Colourpop's mini 12-pan palettes, you know, the mini ones with the series that they come out with, you know, the My Little Pony, that kind of stuff. My favorite ever, oh my goodness gracious, has to be the Good Sport. Surprise, surprise, anyone. This one is by far my favorite and still my favorite that they have ever come out with. It's been hard for me to purchase any more of these type of palettes, the ones that come in this style, because I just love this one so much. And there hasn't been one that really has wowed me as much as this one. I genuinely love it. I can only get away with using certain colors in the wintertime with this one, but this is mainly my summer palette because it is really warm, in your face, bold, but it's so beautiful on the eyes. I've done tutorials with it. I've done palette bingos with it. I have swatched it over and over. I have shared it in multiple videos. This one should not be a surprise. This is definitely my favorite one of the Colourpop ones like this. Now let's get into some indie brands, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? The first one that I have here, this one again should be no surprise if you follow me forever and ever. It is the Menagerie Feral palette. Oh my lord. This one is awesome, you guys. There's quite a few of you guys that are waiting for it to be restocked to get it because you guys have heard me rave about it, and this definitely is by far one of my favorite top palette ever of life. I just love this palette. There's nothing that I can say wrong about you. You're just gorgeous. You're just gorgeous, girl. Oh my goodness. I just love it. I absolutely love it. It always makes me speechless. I kid you not. This palette makes me speechless every single time. I just love it. For BH Cosmetics, you guys, you should know me by now what I'm going to be picking with these palettes. It is the Weekend Festival palette. This one is still my top favorite out of them. I have not purchased any other BH Cosmetic palette since the second one that they came out of this series, and even then, I still love this one. I love this one to death. It's just so pretty. The colors are gorgeous. I could still wear this every day, have a pop of color, or do just a colorful look. The quality of this is really good compared to where BH used to be and some other BH palettes. This is really, really good. Some of you have bought this off my recommendation and have loved it as well, have told me that you really enjoy it. There is nothing wrong with this palette. I absolutely love this one. Love the packaging, love the quality, love everything about it, including the price. Juvia's Place, you guys. I gotta say, out of all of them, I think this one is my favorite, and that is the Zulu palette, and it's because it's so bright. It's that bright, bold, colorful palette, but it's not a rainbow palette. And I think that's why I love it so much. I love the orange and the yellow and these green blues. Oh, they're so beautiful. This whole row, this one is definitely one of my favorites. It just sticks out with the orange. You could do it with the yellow, the green. It's such a pretty color. I love this palette. It doesn't look like I've gotten much use out of it, but I have, you guys. I have done my fair share of it. Look at that one. It's just so pretty. Yes, I love this one. This one's definitely my favorite. As much as I love to collect my Juvia's Place palettes, and I have them all up until this date, this one's still my favorite. I still love this one as my number one. For Violet Voss, I have been one that loves Violet Voss since even before they got to Sephora. I have supported them and loved them. And this one I think is by far my favorite. It isn't their biggest palette. It's not their most neutral palette. And I think that's why I love it. And I love the packaging of it. It is the Flamingo palette. This one just won me over. I love the whole packaging of it. It looks like a little book. You have the little mirror on here. And then I know that there's quite a few, including some friends of mine, that were not a fan of this palette, but I hope that everyone understood when I reviewed this palette, I made it known that there's 5 different types of shadows in here. You're getting toppers, glitter toppers, you're getting satins, you're getting metallics, you're getting mattes, and then you are also getting duochromes. Those are the 5 types of shadows you're getting in here. And I realized, and I've noticed that quite a few people that didn't like this is because certain eyeshadows didn't go or they didn't perform as well. And I don't think they understood that there was different shades in here, different types of formulas in here, and that's the reason why this palette is so unique to me and the color story. I could just do rows and I could just stick with a color story. I can mix and match. Like this one right here looks like a gray, but it's really not a gray. This one right here, I know a lot of people liked, but they didn't appreciate it. This is a glitter topper, just like this one's a glitter topper. So I don't feel like everyone understood this palette 100%, and I think that's why the reviews were a little on and off, but I do like this one. This is definitely still my favorite one out of all the Violet Vosses, including the little ones that they have come out with. I just feel like this one, the color story is it just spoke to me. And last but not least, this is another indie brand that was new to me this year, but I gotta tell you, I think that this one is definitely my favorite out of all of them. From Hip Dot, we are talking about the Zion palette. This one won over Rio and the C Note palette, you guys. This one is so beautiful. I forgot to include this in my fall palettes. Darn it. I did a fall eyeshadow palette of my favorite ones this year, and I don't think it's up yet. I'm not sure. If it is, I'll link it up in the iCards, but this one should have been in there. And I think I love this one so much is because it's warm toned, but it's not oranges and browns. It's reds and purples and pinks with a few colors of browns in it. And I think that's why it's so unique and so eye-catching to me. And every time I wore it, you guys were like, yes, Alex, I love your eyeshadows. And I love the way that it turned out on my eyes. I love this one. If I could only pick one, I think definitely, even with the latest ones that have come out with that I have purchased, this is still my number one out of the whole entire line. All right, you guys, so those are 10 eyeshadow palettes from 10 different brands that are my number one. I could do a second part to this if you guys are interested in it. I will link all these palettes down in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to continue your journey with me, I will add more videos on the side here. Until next time, bye guys.